Well, hello and welcome back. This week we wanted to talk about keeping it simple. So often when people are thinking to switch over to plant-based eating, there's a lot of questions that come up, like where do we get our protein? Where do we get our calcium? Geez, I feel like it might be a good idea to try this plant-based eating plan. But how do I get those essential nutrients that I'm familiar with getting from a traditional diet of meat and meat for protein and dairy for calcium, milk and cheese, that kind of thing. So it's actually much simpler than you might think.
Yeah, to all you have to do is be aware of several shifts that are very simple to do. So, protein in the plant-based world comes from beans, lentils, and certain whole grains, especially quinoa, which is very, very high in protein. And all the grains have protein. And also, all the vegetables have protein. And then the next question is, well, where do we get our calcium? Well,
Let's just go back to protein.
okay.
You're saying that beans have protein, but how do they compare to meat? Do they have as much protein as meat?
Yes, they do. And not large quantities either, but they're so tasty. You won't want a small quantity. They're really yummy.
Yeah, that's what surprised me when we were first doing some research. We had shifted. We felt the change in our bodies. We were healthy. So it's like, I know I want to do this. But when people started asking us to teach them about how to cook and how to get healthy, make this change, wanted to understand some of those details to be able to answer their questions. What about protein? And I was shocked. So this is back in the 90s. I was shocked to see that beans and lentils have as much protein per calorie as meat. It's amazing. So there's no question about being able to get enough protein. And some people say when they switch to plant-based, oh, I'm missing the protein. I feel like I need more protein. And it's not the protein they're missing because our bodies don't really register a lack of protein the way they do a lack of energy, a lack of carbohydrates, the glucose. We need blood sugar levels. It's always monitoring that for our energy levels. So if blood sugar levels go down, our bodies have a wake up mechanism. It says, let's eat, I'm hungry. Not there for protein, but we've associated experience with meat in that as being satisfying. So we think, oh, if there's something missing, it must be the protein from the meat.
Yeah, and then calcium is in the green leafy veggies. You get all you need there if you eat those 2 to 3 times a day, and we do. I had a smoothie for breakfast with lots of greens, kale, beet greens, and cilantro. So I like to have a variety of greens, but some days I just have kale. So calcium comes from there.
Yeah, and to just debunk the milk builds strong bones myth, the research that's out there and has been out there for decades actually, indicates that those countries that have the highest ingestion of dairy have the highest rates of hip fractures. It's been clear for a long time from the research, from the scientific standpoint, that dairy does not build strong bones.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that, the high acid nature of the dairy, even though there's a lot of calcium going in, because of the high acid nature, the body uses that calcium to offset the acidic nature. So we actually end up, ironically, peeing out more calcium than we take in with the dairy in order to offset the acidity.
Good point. And then the next thing is to keep the cravings away, we want to get lots of high nutrient foods. And vegetables, 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 and fruits give us that. They are wonderful, especially the vegetables and the dark leafy greens, number one, and then all the other vegetables, number two, to really give us a high level of nutrient. When the body has a high level of nutrient, that quells the cravings, that stops the cravings, which is wonderful.
Yeah. And the other side benefit going plant-based is that all the fiber you get. And although fiber hasn't been qualified as a nutrient, an essential nutrient, they're beginning to see it's a real essential part of a healthy body.
Healthy microbiome.
Yeah, because it feeds our microbiome, and that's where like 80% of our immune system is generated in our microbiome. So we want to keep that real healthy and happy down there. So yeah, when we shift to the plant-based diet, we add so much additional fiber that is a reason for a lot of the benefits. All that fiber and that microbiome is not just producing a strong immune system, but it's producing a lot of anti-inflammatory qualities too.
Yeah, vegetables are amazing. I love them so much. Well, I love all the food we eat. It's the best.
I think you love everything.
And then how do we stay full? If I'm not going to have all this animal that has so much fat and the dairy that has so much fat in it, how am I going to stay full?
Well, full, and also where you're getting your fat, because fat is an important nutrient. Every cell wall has a lot of these lipids that uses fats to build a healthy cell wall. So there's plenty of healthy oils, and actually healthier oils that are not saturated in the plant realm. So what we always recommend too, which is a part of keeping it simple, is that we get our fats in the whole food form.
Yes,
So
not in a bottle.
Not in a
a
bottle. What are the whole food
So
forms?
avocado and nuts and seeds. And we have wonderful dressings on our blog page or on our web page that show you how to make them and use them on your veggies or on your grain that taste divine and give you that fat that the body needs and that helps pull the nutrients out of those wonderful vegetable foods.
Yeah, it's essential. And the value of getting the fat in the whole food form versus, like Connie said, in a bottle, what we call free oil, oil that's been pressed free of its whole food source, is that one, you've got the fiber. And the fiber is good for the microbiome, like we said, but it's also good in that that fat is bound up with that fiber so that when we're digesting it, if we have one of these nut-based dressings on our greens or on our salad versus olive oil and vinegar, whatever, that oil comes into the body very slowly, so the body processes it very easily. If we take it in the free oil form, it's like this big shot of oil, and the body has to work harder to deal with that and can actually produce fatty liver and a lot of other problems.
And so, also about fullness, the key there is to eat the starchy foods potato, yam, sweet potato, winter squash, and grains. And they're wonderful, satiating foods. They really let you feel full and in a very positive sense, not over full, but full. You want to be a little careful of your portions with avocado, nuts and seeds, and the starchy veggies. You don't want to overdo them, but you want to use both because they have very important nutrients and qualities that make eating whole food plant-based a dream. Now, can I talk about the recipe?
Let's do.
So we have such a wonderful array of food in our house. We just love it. And it's quite simple. We just keep it simple. But the other day, Bill said, I think we should make pizza. Now, we haven't had pizza for a couple of years.
Yeah, probably a couple of years.
And we used to make it when we would juice and use the pulp from the juice mixed with some flax and other seasonings and made our crust from that. Well, now,
And that recipe is still on the website.
yeah,
If you are juicing and you wonder what to do with that pulp, there is a recipe that you can make bread, crackers, and pizza crust. So you're gaining the nutrient value because obviously you can see it's still orange and green or whatever color that plant had when you were juicing it. And you've extracted a lot of the nutrients, but all of those colors are nutrients. Those are antioxidants, and it's a shame to throw that away. So yeah, you want to make use of that, and that's where all the fiber is too. And so you want to make use of all those good nutrients, and so you can make it into crackers or what we call a bread or a pizza crust.
and this pizza, Bill wanted to do something new, so tell.
Yeah, so in a previous blog, we've talked about making wraps in the dehydrator. And so I was thinking, well, what if I did some version of like a dehydrated wrap, but a little thicker? So yeah, I came up with a pizza crust, and we really love it because I didn't know, will it be crumbly? Will it hold it together? Will it be soft? Will it be tasty? And well, we're on our third batch now.
It's really good. And it uses sunflower seeds.
Sunflower seeds, chia seeds, sesame seeds. And I use, it has a cup of water in it to kind of activate all that chia and get it sticky in that. But we use a vegetable broth because we have our stock on the back of the stove all the time. Connie is putting all of her pairings from the organic foods she prepares into that stock and boiling it up. And we use that when we make a soup or cook beans or these kinds of things. So you get those nutrients, but you get those flavors too. So in this crust, I use stock, but filtered water is fine. It'll activate it the same way. And then we put some Italian spice herbs
Yeah.
in it. So yeah, we've been really happy with it.
Yeah, we made kind of an Italian pizza last. We'll give you the recipe for that. And today we're making a Mexican pizza. So that'll be really good too with some avocado in it. And why do we rave about whole food plant-based so much? Well, one, it tastes divine once your taste buds adapt to no salt, no sugar, no oil. That is the best whole food plant-based because it keeps that risk of heart disease and being overweight way down.
Yeah, so we talk about keep it simple. And that simplicity is what we've been talking about. Just go to the whole foods. And keeping it simple may not be quite as simple as just, buying some frozen meal or frozen pizza or something at the store and just having to reheat it. It's not as simple as that, but the research is showing that eating all these processed foods that are so convenient and simple from the standpoint of time and efficiency in the kitchen, it's not so simple when we start having health conditions.
Yeah.
That's not simple at all. There's the old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And if we keep doing the convenient simplicity way of eating, we end up needing that pound of cure, and that's a lot of work.
A lot of work and discomfort, and we never get a cold or flu or nothing.
It's been years.
Yeah, we just love this way of eating. So if we can help you make the shift in any way, let us know.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
See you again next week.